Hello, this is Andy with Mountain Computers, the Go Green PC Tune-Up Guide. Today is May 2nd, 2021. I got an interesting email yesterday, and these folks wanted me to explain to them my knowledge and experience in supply chain management. And I was like, well, sure. So I know this is not a computing video. This is not a PC, laptop, network server programming, but it's about supply chain management, which I have been doing for, gosh, well, since like age 18, so probably 30 plus years. So let me give you a rundown on my knowledge of supply chain management from paperboy experience. I was a paperboy, delivered papers. Worked in a grocery store. Was in the military in supply. I was a quartermaster supplies maintenance in an engineering battalion, which is different than your standard DoD green supply chain. It's engineering, which is civilian and military. Very unique. I was in Microsoft in manufacturing, in software replication, and international distribution. And what else? I think that's about it. And everything else, you know, since I left Microsoft in 97, end of 97, 98, and I've been doing my own thing, working for various companies and stuff. But let me give you a quick rundown on oh, and when the last thing I was at Microsoft, I was in worldwide operations as a technical manager and program manager. And prior to that, I was a technical manager, supervisor in software replication, manufacturing, distribution. And yeah. So let's go over this. Let's talk about supply chain management, SCM. Okay, supply chain management. It's really simple. It's just like computers. It's just like, you know, with computers you have input, you have processing, you have output. Okay, does that make sense? So basically, you know, something goes into something, something happens, and it comes out, and you get something else. So, and that's it. Some decisions are made in here, some actions are taken. So, in supply chain management, all things considered, there's a lot of different tools and frameworks, and acronyms, and certifications, and all this stuff, and training. But experience, experience and education combined go a long way. Experience goes a long way by itself. Education can only take you so far. So let me talk about this. Supply chain management, okay? So over on one side, you have raw materials, okay? Raw materials, okay? And those come into your inventory, okay? So they go into some place. Now, in the military, we had direct support, we had civilian contractors, we had civilian depots and stuff like that, on post and off post. Just like newspapers. You go get your newspapers from the newspaper, you know, the news, like mine was Ashland Daily Tidings. So the papers would either be delivered to me, or I'd go get them. I'd fold them, wrap them, and then deliver them to my customer. Same thing here. Raw material. You basically say, okay, now we go into some sort of warehousing or transfer station per se, and not like your waste management transfer station, that's for trash. And then you would go into some sort of breakdown. Now in the middle of all this is manufacturing. So supply chain management says your food chain up here, if you go up here, you'll have your suppliers. Okay, so if you go up the food chain, you'll have your suppliers. And between you, just say, I'm a manufacturer. Say I'm Microsoft, say I'm Ashland Daily Tidings, or whatever. You have multiple suppliers, and you as the manufacturer, producer, Microsoft was a software manufacturer. They were a software company. The military was the same thing. We had motor pool, we had parts, we had trucks and stuff like that. And then in this manufacturing, some sort of processing, machine, you had contracts. $1 million contracts, okay? Military, Microsoft, $1 million contracts. Not just one, you had multiple. I mean, you had lots of contracts. So here I am, in here, as a supervisor, manager, whatever. And I'll have projects, lots of projects, 1 to 20 over a couple years, 4 or 5 years. 2 to 3 projects at the same time. And in this process, you will have your contracts with your suppliers to bring you raw materials. And there's techniques to manage that. And then down here you have some warehousing. So if your materials come from overseas, come from different climates, there'll be some acclimation, Then it goes into your work orders. You go into master planning. So you have your master planning, you have your master plan. And these are for products. We had 10, 15, 20 standard products all the time. And then we had our weird ones like build to order, stuff like that. So in the military, we have what's called a TO&E. And that TO&E basically says this is what you're allowed to carry for your type of unit. So in some companies, you will have what's called your inventory SKU, stock keeping units. Okay? Not only for your products, but your item numbers for your raw materials. So in the middle here, this is called sort of WIP. I'll call it WIP. Work in progress. Okay? So in your supply chain management, from your suppliers, which they have their suppliers for other raw materials, comes to raw materials to you on one side of your building, or multiple buildings, or all over the world. You'll have your items that you manage. You get products and a master plan and schedule to build those. Build those to order, build those to store, build those for inventory. And there's rules about that too. So this thing called WIP, work in progress. These are, it's half, the rules are half, this is 20 years ago, half automated and half manual, okay? And when I say automated, that includes robotics, okay? The reason why in WIP, work in progress, in manufacturing, you have half automated and half manual. The manual part is people. Over here, this is machines, okay? One of the reasons why you have automation is for efficiency and time and cost savings and accuracy. And over here, you have people. Now, it's easier to move people around because they're more flexible. They can be reprogrammed faster than machines, okay? Machines, it costs more money to move things around and change things. Look at some of your warehousing and some of your automation there. Now, if you have a static process and you have basically a product or product set that doesn't change, you can pretty much automate everything. But if you have variance in what you're doing in your master plan, in your products and stuff like that, you're going to have some degree of people that you need in order to fulfill orders for your customer. And then on the back end, then you have what's called basically your warehousing, okay? And that's where Amazon and all those guys are. They're basically, they're a third-party logistics company that takes the marketplace, puts it on a platform on the internet, and then a customer says, I want this. The marketplace says, do we drop ship? Do we special order? Do we have to build? Do we have to do all this stuff? Now there is some degree of warehousing. There's optimizations in warehousing. And when it comes to warehousing, you don't want to have too much inventory because one, some states, some countries have inventory tax. They'll have taxation. There's tax everywhere. Governments love to tax everything, okay? So warehousing says how much should we hold to get so many turns per year. Now, back in the day it was like you want less than 40 turns, more than 40 turns per year, okay? You don't want like 4 or 5 turns. That means you hold your inventory. Say you have one product and it turns 4 times a year, so you hold on to it for 3 months before it sells. You want this to be low warehousing, high efficiency. And then on the back end, you have what's called transportation. Transportation. Okay? And over here, you have a customer. Your customer. Okay? So in supply chain management, like me, all of this input, processing, and output is controlled by sort of this mess. Now, all through this, there's ways to control it. There's ways to describe it. There's ways to optimize it. There's ways to create it, modify it, scale it, move it, and shut it down. Okay? So, anyhow, that's it in a nutshell. Any questions? Supply chain management. Inventory turns, 40 or more per year. That was the old school thinking. Now it's probably higher. Your raw materials, okay? There's techniques. There's Kanban. It basically says let your suppliers and vendors manage your inventory levels instead of you always having to say, what's my reorder point? See, in the military, our TOE said you're allowed 2, all right? Okay, so if I was in motor pool and I was allowed 2 starters. When I used 1, excuse my fingers, when you use 1, your reorder point is 1, so you order another. Now if you add 4, right, and you use 1, the reorder point hasn't been reached. If the reorder point is 2, so you use 1, don't reorder. Reuse another, don't reorder. I mean, as you hit 3, then your reorder point is 2, it's triggered, so you order 2 to replace it. Now some of these items you have to turn in, like starters, generators, tire. I mean, there's things that just can be repaired at direct support if you're at the company level like I was. So anyhow, Kanban, I don't know what I was describing that, but whatever. Kanban says, oh, warranties and replacements. Because somewhere in here, the customer may get a product that has a problem. So where does it go? Does it go back to transportation? Does it go back to warehousing? Where does it go? No! The transportation basically says, take this all the way back here to the beginning into a returns part of your entire manufacturing process to process it back in to determine whether or not it can be refurbished, it can be considered open box, or maybe it is a manufacturer defect and it has to go back to the supplier who's dropping off right here. That same drop point is a return point for warranty, replacement, etc. So it's a good model. So I'm going to change colors here for a second because this brown doesn't look too good. So let's try this one more time. Okay? I know this looks messy, but oh well. Alright, let's choose a different color. Let's try blue. Is this dry erase? Yeah. Okay, let's try blue. Supply chain management. Okay? So if we stop the video here, and start up again, what have we got? We've got raw materials. We've got, it's not warehousing, it's just inventory. Inventory. Then you have basically your manufacturing engine, engine. And then you have warehouse or direct ship. It can go direct, build to order, BTO, build to order, or warehouse. And then build to order and warehouse use the same transportation, the TPL transportation logics. Logistics, 3PL, we got third party logistics, transportation logistics. And then you have your customer, okay? Customers here. So raw material, and then your suppliers are over here. Okay, suppliers. Need better Sharpies. Suppliers. Suppliers to raw materials, to inventory, to manufacturing, to warehouse, to transportation, to your customer. So supply chain management. From your supply all the way to your customer, okay? Inventory, keep that low as possible. If you're seasonal, you'll have to manage this. Raw materials is basically your inventory that's coming in. Raw materials is your inventory. You can use Kanban. Kanban, that means The military, we had our way, like I told you about our TONE. Microsoft, we had our inventory levels. Oh, let's talk about quality. Let's talk about quality for a second. Supply chain management, quality, the big quality circle. Quality used to be at final inspection, right here, somewhere right here, before we went to warehouse. It used to be here. And then we did what's called inline quality checks. So if you have 4 stops through here, 1, 2, 3, 4, at the end of each stop you say, is it good? Is it good? Is it good? Is it good? At any point, if there's a failure in this spot, it gets stopped, and we figure out where did it happen? Where did it happen? Where did it happen? Where did it happen? Now, it's supposed to occur that if it gets to here, it better not be over because of over here. And if you get to here, it better be over. It has to be in a very small window. So your quality circle, your quality control, you know, there used to be departments for that. And then they said, why do we have so many quality control people when we should just be teaching the people and the machines and the computers and all the metrics and all the measurements and all the gathering? Why don't we just build that into the system? And therefore save time. I mean, time motion studies. We used to do time motion studies all the time. I did it all the time. I said, if I can save a penny per second per person everywhere, or even a dime, nickel, or a quarter, multiply that out, that gets you your ROI for a project. If your ROI on any one of these projects, if you have SKUs, and you have, you know, 100 SKUs, and it takes you, you know, 1,000 hours to build one each of these. To build one each of these takes 1,000 hours. Is there a way to do that in 900 hours? You know? How can I do it in 900 hours or 500 hours without affecting quality, without raising cost, but saving cost, not introducing quality problems or errors or safety or anything like that? So just think about that. What else? Supply chain management. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about Pareto's law, fishbone diagram. Okay, so if there's a problem, we call it root cause analysis, or Pareto. Okay, another video I talked about upper and lower control limits, and that was having to do with, you know, cloud stuff. But Pareto and root cause is basically your fishbone diagram. So basically, you go like this. And you call it a fishbone because it looks like a fishbone. Okay, so this is your root cause, your problem, your everything. Okay, and then you have whatever this is. This is your fishbone diagram. Pareto analysis 80-20 rule. You know, so you have the 6 M's: man, materials, machines. That's for your automation, and methods. Those are your processes. Okay? Man should be people. Get rid of the M. People. Your staff, your power. The people behind it. Man, machine, whatever. And then you have 2 more down here. They added this. And they said management. You know, what impacts management? Management, MGMT, and metrics. Okay, so management, yes, can affect this. Metrics should be used to measure this, okay? So your materials, that's your raw materials. The methods, that's your procedures, that's your ISO stuff, that's your ISO 9000, 9002, whatever. These are your people. That's who, you know, half of your entire organization should be half people and half machine and so on and so forth. Now I know the food industry today, in their entire distribution system model, they're trying to go full robotics, and a lot of companies want robotics because there is savings, but it costs money to do the robotics. The machines, okay, robotics, you name it, methods, materials, I mean, supply chain management 101, metrics, your KPIs, your best business BPMs, best management practices, BMPs, And management, those are the leaders, those are the supervisors, upper, middle, lower management. So supply chain management, quality control, upper and lower control limits. What else? What else can I talk about? Oh, when it comes to metrics, there's usually 5. When it comes to metrics, KPIs, key performance indicators. That's what we used to call them, or metrics. Okay, there were 5. There was 3 quantitative, can't spell it, and 2 qualitative, whatever. Quantity, quality. Quantity was like how many units, how many days, how much cost. I mean, these are hard numbers, things that you can put on an executive summary and say, these are the numbers these are our goals, these are numbers, this is our volume, our profit, our sales, you know, everything. Quality, that's like 0 days without an injury. How is the morale of your team? Things that are not, that you can't really measure, you can just sort of like gather an idea about. So that kind of stuff. So I'm going to stop there for now, and we'll look at the video, and I'll post it. But Supply Chain Management 101, I got an MBA in Technology Management, which is a function. The MBA has Supply Chain Management in it, and Quartermaster School, Fort Lee, Virginia, has an entire, I was a 76 Charlie 10. I could have been a 20 if I'd have stayed in longer, or gone over and been an officer or whatever, but I didn't. At Microsoft, though, I got a great opportunity to learn everything. I mean, we had great consultants, great project management people. I mean, Xerox came in and taught us project management. I mean, that was the best ever. Yeah, Project Management 101. That is simple. Let me show you a quick way how to do approved projects, okay? This is, I use this at Nevada Inventors Association to show people. There's basically 9 boxes, okay? This is project management. It's also ideas, inventions, product development. I mean, this all applies, okay? I hope this is an eraser. Yeah, dry erase. There's basically 9 blocks, okay? And I'm just going to show you how this works, okay? 9 blocks. Okay, so block 1 is your idea, okay? Idea. Here's your idea. I got an idea. Ooh, an idea. And then the arrows go like this, and then they come around like this, and they come like this, and then they come around like this, and this, and this, and then you're done. Is your post-mortem. Post-mortem. That's when the project is done, the product is done, whatever. So you have this idea, and then at the end of each one of these, there's a check mark. You're allowed to proceed and go to the next stage. So here's level 1, stage 1, 2, and 3, okay? And these are controlled by the stakeholders, the owners, the people with the money that make the decisions. So idea stage, okay? Prototype stage. Very interesting. And this is sort of like your beta, okay? Marketing, all this stuff. So this is where you do your prototype, you do your alpha, beta. No, this is more alpha, because beta can be down here. Okay, then at some point along here, the stakeholder says, do we have something? Do we have something? Is this worth it? Is this a unicorn? Out of like 20 unicorns, we just want 2 to hit and we know the rest will fail. So if it passes the first stage and the stakeholders say, yeah, go for it, then we go over here and we go into continued development. We go into development. We get into testing. We get into documentation. We have documentation up here, but it's not like the documentation that goes to the customer. It goes to the public. At some point along the line, you're going to get your marketing people in here. You're going to get your sales people in here. And then at some point in time in here, you'll have legal, and you'll have risk, and you'll have more research, more development, more test. And then at this point right here, you're going to say, do we have a product? Do we have a big capital product? We have a prototype, but now do we have a product? Does it meet all the requirements to hit our market window? Are we solving a problem? Are we really going to solve a problem and make some money? If all of those things are true, then yes, we get a check mark. We have funding. We have the rest of this is basically your delivery. It's one thing to have a plan, it's another thing to execute the plan. I mean, a plan is no good unless you execute it. So down here, then you have, okay, all right, let's get into our, let's get our marketing engine going. Sales, customer, you know, all this stuff here. And then here is actually when it's made, manufactured, and then here it gets rolled out and delivered. It hits the street, it makes the street, and then over here is the post-mortem, which says how did we do overall. It's this check mark, then we go into wrap-up after we've released the product and we say, could we have done something better, did we make mistakes, etc., etc. So this here, the documentation team all the way through here, the manufacturing team, at some point in time up here, they start to get a hint that there's going to be something new coming down to fill in our capacity, to fill in our bandwidth, to fill in our utilization, to fill in our resources, that we're going to have support people and they have to be trained and there has to be adjustments to the call center, so on and so forth. And then finally, when it gets rolled out into the street, you know, our existing 3PL, third-party logistics, transportation, they should already be like, oh yeah, we got something coming on. It's going to be cool. And marketing and PR and all those people are going to make this huge announcement and stuff like that. But that's basically your idea, invention, project management, product development, delivery flow, okay? I mean, you have a beginning, and this is where the inventor, the patent, starts. It gets here at some point, if there is patentability, trademark, copyright, any of that stuff that legal needs to be brought into. Now mind you, quality is in here too, quality control. There's quality all the way through here, okay? And that's at the product developer, the product manager, the senior, all these people, all the way up the food chain, the VPs, they know about this, okay? This can be a game changer, okay? Are you going to meet an existing marketing demand, or are you going to leapfrog the entire market and get ahead of any competition and momentum and just have some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of like, what do they call it, disruptive technology? You know, are you fusing different technologies to make something new, you know? But yeah, this is pretty cool. And it works. Xerox and Microsoft and some of my mentors, some of my project managers, they had an idea of this. This is the way myself and one of my mentors, we fine-tuned this. And I actually have a hard copy from the original days that I still use. Conceptually it's correct, but the inventor is right here. The inventor just likes to invent. That's me. I like to prototype. That's me. I like to do research, development, go into your alphas. But then sometimes I like to switch over to operations and support and work with the customer and go to the client and see how it's working, because feedback is everything. All along here you need feedback to say, is this what we're going to deliver, that which we expected from the beginning, or did it change? Did the market change? Did we have to evolve? Do we need to kill it? Do we need to kill it anywhere? Hopefully not, but alright, I think that's about it. Again, this is Andy with Mountain Computers. Quick crash course on supply chain management, a little project management flow for a Sunday, and that's about it. I like my Commodore shirt, Commodore 64. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Smash that subscribe button. And if you have any problems, questions, comments, give me a call. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.